Well, I watched a few things, not a ton. So I'm still watching that Death and Other Details show on Hulu. I don't got
Hmm.
much more to say about it. Just that I would say that if you're into the murder mystery genre, I would encourage people to watch it just so they keep making more shows in this vein. Or
Hmm.
hopefully give this show a season two. I don't know if they have plans for that or not. But I did decide to subscribe to Peacock for a month just
Hmm.
because I was interested in watching the Royal Rumble.
Hmm.
So I watched that, and the Rumble was fine. The only bummer is CM Punk, who's probably one of the only like interesting wrestlers right now. He got injured during the Rumble, so he's out for like several months. So
Oh,
that's
okay.
a bit of a bummer. But
Yeah.
other than that, it was fine. But so I'm trolling around Peacock, just like trying to find things to watch. I gotta say, I think Peacock is probably one of the weakest like streamers out there as far as content
Yeah.
they offer. Like I did not find very much on there that I was interested in, but I did decide to try a few of their original programs. So one is do you remember that movie Ted with
Oh, yeah.
Mark Wahlberg and the talking teddy bear, Seth MacFarlane?
Hmm.
So they made a show out of that, a TED TV show,
Yeah.
and I actually ended up liking it. It actually was pretty funny. Um,
Okay.
it's they basically tried to give it the feel of like an 80s or 90s sitcom, only like dirty, with cursing and everything.
Is there a
But
laugh track?
that's a good question. I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't remember a laugh track, but just like the way the sets and stuff look, it kind of reminds you of like an old school TV show.
Okay.
Um, and I think it was only like 7 episodes, but I thought it's silly. Like it definitely kind of feels like a live action Family Guy in a way, where like instead of having a talking dog, there's a talking bear, and then it just gets
Yeah.
very
Alf
outlandish.
type situation,
Yeah,
right?
it's almost like what if Alf was dirty?
Okay.
That's what it feels like. But I thought it was funny, and if they make more of it, I'll definitely watch more of it.
Hmm.
Also on Peacock, they last year made a television show out of the video game Twisted Metal.
Okay.
And so I was curious of that and I watched it. And here's the thing, I liked it. I had a lot of fun with it, but I
Hmm.
wish their effects budget was more. The effects are pretty cheap.
Oh,
They just, a
yeah.
lot of the effects look like kind of like plug-in effects with like explosions and like the, gunfire and stuff. But like,
Hmm.
I was just curious, like, how do you make like a show out of that? And basically, what the premise is like, I believe it was like at some point in the past, like electronics for the most part, like kind of stopped working. So this caused like an apocalypse. And so basically, all the major cities built up walls around the cities. And then over time, they basically pushed all the criminals out of the cities. And
What?
so like so yeah, like basically every space in between cities is just like a no man's land with like crazy people roaming. And
That's
like
kind of like today.
yeah, so they of course like all the crazy people, have vehicles that they like mount guns to and stuff, right? And so Anthony Mackie, he's like the lead of the show, and he's his job. He's what they call a milkman, which is somebody who like makes deliveries like between the walled off cities. And
Mm.
of course, he has to deal with like the crazies in between.
Hmm.
But yeah, the leads are him, and then Stephanie Beatrice, who played on Brooklyn Nine Nine.
Oh, right. Yeah, she was the tough one.
Yeah, the tough one, right? Um, and I recommend the show basically mostly just because of them. Like they're very fun characters. Like
Okay,
um,
so Mackey's good in this one.
yes, he is
Okay.
for sure. Yeah, actually, I think this show. I think I've enjoyed him more in this show than anything else I've seen him in.
Okay, I got you. I recently saw like a breakdown of like him playing Tupac in a movie, and it was so bad. He was the worst Tupac I ever seen in my life. Like just there's not a lot of Tupac anyway, but like jeez, it was so bad. But yeah, I'm glad he's doing it right. So it's good to see. I'll check it out. It's on Hulu, you said?
No, this is on Peacock.
Oh, Peacock, right.
Right.
Whew. Why do you have Peacock because of wrestling? So
Yeah.
yeah, all right.
And we're back. AJ, we had a little technical difficulty with our recording equipment, but we're back. And for listeners, it'll be like it never happened. But AJ, I believe I left off just kind of running down the shows I watched during the week. And actually, this delay we had due to our recording malfunction, at the very least, it let me watch a new show. So
Okay.
on Amazon Prime, I watched this the new Mr. and Mrs. Smith show
Oh,
with
okay.
with Donald Glover and Maya Erskine, I think it is, who people might know from that Pen 15 show on Hulu.
All right.
Um, but yeah, I thought it was a fun show. You know, I actually don't know because like I don't know if you watched like the Brad Pitt movie back in the day, like in the early 2000s.
Yeah, I didn't see it, but I kind of know about it.
I watched that movie. It's one of those movies I watched and I have almost no recollection of it, but I remember in that version of the story, like Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie were like a married couple, and they both like were like worked for this like spy organization, but they didn't realize that each other worked for it. And then like during the course of the movie, like their different like operations end up putting them kind of at odds together. I heard there's
Yeah, I don't
also
know how we wouldn't know though. Like they're both part of like a similar organization or something. Like they're both in the same line of work. I don't know.
right. Um, and I heard that there was like a short-lived like TV version of it in the '90s with like
Oh,
I think like Scott Bakula or something like. But like I don't know. I don't think that one popped off, and I don't even know. There might even be like an earlier version of it, but in this version, like they both like join this like secret CIA type organization, and the
hmm,
organization basically puts them together as like a married couple. So they in this one, like it's the opposite where they know what the score is like. And like the whole thing is like them presenting as a married couple will hopefully allow them to like infiltrate certain places
right.
and get intel, that sort of thing. And then like the whole thing of the show is like they kind of fall for each other and like start a legitimate relationship, and then it's like them trying to hold this relationship together while doing these crazy spy missions.
And like at some point, don't they like have to like knock off the other one or something, or they like have to target each other or something?
Well, I don't necessarily want to spoil anything, but there's definitely, I'll say this, like uh, there's like this organization has many different like Mr. and Mrs. Smith like couples like
Okay.
throughout the world, and the basically the opening scene of the show is another Mr. and Mrs. Smith couple like getting executed. So like um, you get the sense that like there's definitely like something going on with like you know at points like Mr. and Mrs. Smith couples like getting cold, like possibly by the agency, possibly not, that sort of. But yeah, I don't want to spoil too much. I will say I enjoyed it, and I definitely hope they do a season two because this season ends on a cliffhanger.
Hmm.
So like, hopefully it doesn't get canceled. But I like both the leads, both Donald Glover and Maya Erskine. They're funny and they're charming. So, and I thought they had good chemistry. They worked well together.
Hmm.
So yeah, I'm definitely on board for more. Is this a type of show that would interest you at all?
No, not really. I never even watched the movie. I just the whole secret agent thing is just I don't know. It's not really that great for me. I like to Get Smart. That was funny to me. I just liked it for the comedy though.
Yeah, I mean, I in recent years I've been trying to get more into like spy stuff. I've actually watched like some of the James Bond movies and stuff like that. Um, my understanding, like One day, like if I ever had the time, I would actually like to go through and watch all the James Bond movies, even though I know there's some in there that are supposed to be very bad.
Yeah.
Like the Roger Moore ones, I'm sure are kind of painful, but like I don't know, they have a style to them at least.
Right.
Um, but yeah, hopefully it'll get a second season.